morning, class.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
What a lovely smile Sandy has today.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
should be like her.
Thank you, ma'am.
Before we start, I have presented a picture on the screen. You all are going to take out your pen and your book and write few sentences related to it. Okay? Take 2 minutes time. Whatever flashes across your mind, you are going to write about it. And Ms. Sangeeta is very excited to write few points. Is it done? Yes, Ms. Saili, what have you written?
Roughly written. First point, there's a lot of destruction that we can see in the images. Second point, it's man-made disaster. Third point, I can see some war has happened and because of which humans have to suffer.
Very good. You have come to the point. Anyone else would like to read? Yes, Sandan.
I guess all the four pictures are connected to just one incident, that is, as Salimam said, war. There is destruction of life and property, as we can see, and also wherein everyone are very fearful of whatever is happening all around them. But there is just one boy who's just in the second picture we can see he's watching as to what is happening because he has no idea about it.
Very good. So she had almost covered what we are going to do today. Yes, Sangeeta.
Same as this scene shows that so much destruction is happening because we can able to make out the house in a broken condition. The way boy is watching his house in pathetic condition. Really, it shows the war.
Oh, very good. So the topic which we are going to learn today is related to war. Okay? And in English literature. Now, so we will be doing literature in English, the poem After Blenheim. And now the picture was related to war. Now let me know, is war the only solution to every problem? Instead of war, what can be done? If suppose there are clashes between countries, what can be done to solve that? Instead of getting involved into a war.
We have to discuss on that topic.
Yes, we can discuss on the topic and
Debate.
debate can be done, but it should be
In a positive
manner.
Find the solution of that.
Find a solution. If not proper solutions, negotiation can be done, but war is not the ultimate solution for every problem. Now, when we talk about India, can you tell me, is our country strong in terms of defense? Is our country strong? Do we have missiles, weapons, arms, ammunition?
Yes.
Yes, we have everything. But are we the first to attack any country? No. Because as per the Constitution of India and as per the principles which we follow, we will never use our weapons to attack any country. Our weapons will be used only for the defense of our country. Okay. So the poem which we are going to do today is After Blenheim. Blenheim is a place in Germany, and this war was fought between English and France, in which France was defeated by the English, and this was a war for succession. We are not going to go into detail regarding the war, but this poem is about the consequences of war, the destruction of life and property due to war. So you all can open up your textbook. This poem written by Robert Southey. He was an English romantic poet. Who is a romantic poet? Okay. Romantic poets are poets who writes about nature. Okay? The one who loves nature about nature is romantic poet. And he had written many works like heroic epics like Kalava and the Destroyer. It's known for some short stories like the Inchcape Rock and the Battle of Blenheim. Short poems actually. And he had written the children fable, The Story of Three Bears. Have you read about it? Have you read this book, The Story of the Three Bears? You have short stories related to it in primary section. Okay? No? Mother bear, father bear, baby bear. Whenever you get time, you just go and read this book, The Story of Three Bears. So take out page 17 of your textbook. After Blenheim, it was a summer evening. Old Casper's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun. And by him sported on the green his little grandchild Wilhelmine. She saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round, which he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. He came to ask what he had found that was so large and smooth and round. Old Casper took it from the boy who stood expectant by. And then the old man shook his head and with a natural sigh, "It's some poor fellow's skull," said he, "who fell in the great victory. I find them in the garden, for there's many here about, and often when I go to plough, the plowshare turns them out. For many thousands men," said he, "were slain in that great victory. Now tell us what it was all about," young Peterkin he cries. And little Wilhelm looks up with wondering, waiting eyes. "Now tell us all about the war and what they fought each other for." "It was the English," Casper cried, "who put the French to rout. But what they fought each other for, I could not well make out. But everybody said," quoth he, "that it was a famous victory. My father lived at Blenheim then, yon little stream hard by. They burned his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had he where to rest his head. With fire and sword the country round was wasted far and wide, and many a childing mother then, and a newborn baby died. But things like that, you know, must be at every famous victory." So this poem has a story imbibed in it. So can you tell me what sort of poem is this if you get a story inside it? A poem with a story, a complete story. Such poems are called as ballads. Okay? If a story is written in a poetic form, it is called as ballad. And this is an example of narrative poem, where an entire story is set in a poetic form. Okay, so here we have three important characters. Can you tell me who they are? You just read the poem once. Can you tell me who are the important characters here? To take time, go through the poem for a minute, and I want to know the characters here. There are only three characters.
Casper, Peterkin और कौन है?
Raise your hands.
Old Casper,
Old Casper.
brother Peterkin,
Okay.
Little
Grandchild.
Wilhelmine.
Wilhelmine.
Wilhelmine. Okay. So here we have three important characters in the story. Old Casper is a grandfather, and he has two grandchildren, a boy and a girl. Boy's name is Peterkin and girl's name is Wilhelmine. Okay, and the boy is playing and he got a skull. The child is playing with the skull and he wants to know what it was. He wasn't aware that he was playing with the skull. He wanted to know about it, and he asked the grandfather what it is. And grandfather was like, "It is a skull. It's a human skull. I had seen so many skulls when I went for flying." they do not know why the war was fought. So it is related to war. Grandfather doesn't know why the war was fought. He kept on repeating only one sentence. It was a famous victory. For him, it is a victorious event. That's it. Why the war was fought? When it was fought, he wasn't aware about it. So it was a summer evening. Old Casper's work was done, and he, before his cottage door, was sitting in the sun. And by him sported on the green his little grandchild Wilhelmine. Okay, so what time of day is mentioned in the poem?
Evening. Evening.
In complete sentence, answer in complete
It
sentence.
was a
Summer
summer
evening.
It was a summer evening, and old Casper had completed all his work. He was just sitting near the garden. He was sitting in the garden next to his cottage door, and by him sported on the green his little grandchild Wilhelmine. So just check the meaning of sported. Sported means play. So children were playing. He was watching them play. She saw her brother Peterkin. Now Wilhelmine saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round. He got something and he was rolling that thing, which he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. So this boy was playing near the rivulet. Rivulet means a small stream. Was playing near the riverside and he got this skull. He came to ask what he had found that was so large and smooth and round. So when he got the skull, he came to his grandfather to ask what it was. Old Casper took it from the boy, who stood expectant by. Expectant by means he was waiting for an answer from his grandfather. He needed to know what it was. And then the old man shook his head, and with a natural sigh, was not happy about it. In a sad tone, he said, it's some poor fellow's skull who fell in the great victory. So it was a victorious event, and one person died in that event. And then he said, I find them in the garden, for there's many here about. Okay, there are many different skulls lying here. That means many people had sacrificed their life for the cause of war. And often when I go to plow, the plowshare turns them out. Whenever I go to plow, I get this skulls. For many thousand men, said he, were slain in the great victory. So many people were killed in this act. Now, this poem also talks about man's cruelty. So can anyone tell me why is it cruel, or what type of cruelty is reflected during wartime? Just imagine a war incident where man is showing his cruel attitude.
Don't have feelings about other.
Yeah, we don't. Whenever a war happens, people lose all type of emotion, all type of feelings. What else?
Become violent.
They become violent. Destruction is their main agenda. They don't think about themselves. They don't think about their family. They don't think about others as well. So this poem also talks about man's cruelty. And now tell us what it was all about. Young Peterkin, he cries, and little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder-waiting eyes. Now tell us all about the war and what they fought each other for. And now this stanza talks about the curiosity of the students, of the children, the eagerness of the children. So, now tell us what it was all about. Grandfather said that what war took place, but what it was all about, he wasn't aware about it. Okay. So we will stop it here. The part which we have completed, I want you to read and frame a question on it. Read the part which we have done. Any one question for your friends?
Please will you repeat the question?
Can you frame one question for your friends to answer from the part which we have completed? Yes, ma'am.
So, what was the particular thing that the two children located while playing?
Very good. So what is the answer? What did they get while playing?
Human skull.
A human skull. Please note down the assignment. Next. Complete it in your book and come tomorrow.
Okay, ma'am.
Then the lesson one, set in action was app.
To all. Yes. So today we are going to learn something interesting. Okay, which you encounter in your not you encounter because you are small, but you heard this news regarding this. Okay. So before starting, I like to invite one guest for you. Okay. Hello everyone. Hello. I am Dr. Evel. Do you want to know about me? Yes. About myself? Okay. So I am Dr. Evel. I am a villain. I am a villain in a virtual world. I am not that kind of villain who puts namak on your key like Komalika. No. I am like I am a virtual villain. Okay? So, okay, Dr. Evel. Then what is your job? I will hurt you virtually. I will steal your data and I will ruin your happiness virtually. Okay, virtually? How? As if I am going to tell you how I did all these things. Yeah? So student, this Dr. Evel, what do you think? Who is that Dr. Evel? Anyone? What do you think? Yes, Anvina?
Virus.
Yes, you are close to that. Yes, sir. Virus? Anyone else? Yes?
Hacker.
Yes, hacker, right? Okay. So student, today we are going to learn this topic which is depend on this subject. Okay. So our chapter name is Online Surfing and Cyber Security. In that we are going to learn some topic which are cyber threats and cyber security. So cyber threat, what is this threat means? Cyber threat. What do you think? What is this cyber threat? Yes? Cyber threat. Okay, just tell me what is threat.
Insecure.
Okay.
Something dangerous?
Yes, something dangerous to us. Something which make us victim. Right? Something like that. So, this activities, criminal activities, when this happen online or on virtual world, it is called cyber threats. Okay? So, just see the definition. Cyber threat, it is a criminal activity. It is a criminal activity which computers are used to damage data. Okay? Maybe your data will be damaged. Which data? Which is on your computer. Computer data are used to damage, which computer are used to damage data, steal data and disrupt digital life of a person. Okay? So for example, if I did a fraud, right? If I did any online fraud, what will happen to you? You will lose your money, right? Which means that it will disrupt your digital life, right? Yes. data today we are going to discuss. So first is data diddling. Okay. So what is data diddling? In simple words, data diddling is nothing but altering someone's data without his or her permission. Okay. So this is called data diddling. For example, if I ask you as a teacher, if I ask you, please can you change your name from my PC, or can you update your data from on my PC, which is on my PC? So this is, I am giving you a permission. So this is not a threat, because I am giving you a permission to alter that data. But if without any permission of that person, that owner, if you are altering the data, that is called data diddling. It means changing the data going into or out of computer. Now what do you think this is going into or out of computer? Yes?
Editing something.
Yes, it may be that, for example, as a hacker, I may come to your place, or if you are using some PC, and directly go to that PC and I'll change your data. Or otherwise, what I will do, I will hack your PC and I will change that data. So it means going into or out of computer. With you using your computer or without using your computer, I will diddle, means alter your data. This is called data diddling, and data diddling is a type of cyber threat. It is a type of cyber threat, which means it is a criminal activity. Okay. Next type is hacking and cracking. So you may heard this term hacking. Uska ye account hack ho gaya. Today this number of frauds are coming in picture, right? This and that. There are lots of things regarding this hacking. But did you know what is the real meaning of hacking and cracking? Anyone? What is hacking in your terms, in your language? Stealing someone's data without his permission, right? It is like coming to your place without your permission, right? So there are two things. First is hacking and second is cracking. So hacking comes whenever if you are inviting me at your place, okay? So the owner is inviting me to change something, right? It is called hacking. And cracking is nothing but I am coming to your place without your permission. Okay? So whenever we talk hacking and cracking, so hacking done by some authorities, and वो authorities हमें किसने दिया है? Owner. Okay? The owner give you authority to change the data, and cracker is, yes?
If we have owner has given the permission to change the data, then why it is a criminal offense? Because we have given the authority.
See, hacking is a popular term, but hacking is a popular term for fraud. But if you see the real meaning of hacking, it means, just for example, if your phone is damaged and you need to recover your data, and if I am a person who can recover that data, then I am a hacker. But if I got your mobile and I am using your data, then I am a cracker. Okay? So the term hacking is a famous, but real meaning of hacking is doing reaching to your data with your permission. So it is legal for hackers, and crackers it is illegal. can I steal your money? Okay, so that is cracker. So hacker is, in hacking there is no crime because you are giving your authority, right? But cracker commits the crime. Next, hacker fights criminal and cracker, it is a criminal. Okay, so whenever we are talking about hacking, so it is a process, right, which is done by hacker. So which process? Which process just we discussed? Which process?
Stealing the data.
When to?
Digging.
Yeah.
Data digging.
Yeah. Yes. Data. Dealing with your data with your permission. That is the process, and it is called hacking. And without your permission, it is cracking.
Okay.
So there are lots of many types. There are faking, cloning, carding, which is related to different types of virtual. For example, with your credit card, debit card, all these things. This we will see in our next lecture. Now comes to the cyber security. Now you know all these types of threats are coming to your place with your internet, right? With the help of your internet, you are using your internet, you are filling some forms, you are giving your information online. So all these things, when you are sitting at home and you are doing all these things online, so that time you need to ensure that you are secure enough to handle the internet. Okay, so cyber security, it is not nothing but a process of protecting your computer resources. It may be your network, it may be your data, all these things. Whenever you secure that with some apps or something, security softwares, it is called protecting data is called a cyber security. Cyber is nothing but a virtual world. Okay, cyber is nothing but a virtual world. So it is a process of protecting computer resource such as network, device, programs and data from unauthorized access. Right? Who is unauthorized access? The cracker. Very good. The cracker. Damage or attack. Your data should be protected or safe. So reasons for increased cybercrime. Firstly, because of COVID, you all know, we are on internet only. We are living on internet because for communication, right? There are lots of things. We are on internet only. So there is some reasons because the cyber crimes are increasing. So there are very less awareness in old people or any person who doesn't know the pros and cons of internet. So increasing use of internet, lack of awareness, existing loopholes in software. So software आपको पूरा बना बनाना है वो खिचड़ी नहीं देता, right? They maybe directly or indirectly make some mistakes in their software. कि आप उनका software भी खरीदो and then you will purchase their security softwares also, right? So existing loopholes in software, then untrained internet user, right? If 70 years old or 60-year-old person is using the mobile or internet, using the internet, he is not fully aware of the cons and cons of internet. So that time this crime may be happening. How we can take precautions on internet? What do you think? What do you think? How we can take precautions? Yes, ma'am?
Load antivirus software.
Yes, load antivirus software.
You should not share any information to any strangers.
No sharing of personal information online. Yes.
Avoid getting access to free Wi-Fi
Yes.
nearby locations.
Free Wi-Fi or free anything which are free, it comes with something, some viruses. Okay. So protect from that. So you need to take precautions, right? Create a strong password, right? So So this is the main thing or main surface where this crackers play. Your password, your ID that hacker will get your ID from anywhere, right? You need to protect your password. Yes, quiz time. So there is some sequences. After the college exams, Ajay is very worried about his performance. In the exams, he decided to check data-related exam without the permission of the college. What cybercrime is Ajay going to commit? Yes, ma'am? Cracker. Yes, right. Cracker. Or we can, yes, cracker. Or we can, if he changes any data, then he is diddling. Data diddling. Right. Right. Data diddling or cracker. Right. Next. Meeta is working in an IT company. Her father forgot his computer password. Meeta helped him to crack his password. Who is Meeta? Hacker or cracker? Yes, sir?
Hacker.
Hacker. Yes. Very good. Hacker. Thank you. Be safe and keep surfing.
Into the camera.
Good afternoon, students. How are you all? Fine. So, today, before we start, let's have some riddle question. Okay. I'm going to ask you one riddle question. I have a face. I have two hands. I show all numbers. I say tick. I say tock. Guess, 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 who am I? Raise your hand. So many hands, so many hands. To whom? Yes, I am.
Clock.
Clock. Yes. Clock. Clock, 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 clock tells us time. So today I'm going to teach you about time. Okay. So I'm going to give you one example of one boy whose name is Ankur. His name is Ankur. Okay. The sun rises in the morning. Ankur gets up early in the morning. He gets up early in the morning. So he takes bath and breakfast, and then he goes to school. He first takes bath, he takes breakfast, and then he goes to school. He studies at school and comes back home after the school closes. He studies at school. Ankur does his homework in afternoon. See, afternoon. He does his homework in afternoon. He goes out to play in the evening and returns at sunset. He spends some time watching TV with his parents. I know most of you are doing. Watching television with the parents. Yes or no?
Yes.
Or only watching television, no studies.
Yes,
Alone also. You should do studies, you should go for a play and watch television with your parents. And after watching television, Ankur takes dinner. After taking dinner, he goes to sleep at night. So here, in this, I gave you the example of Ankur. Ankur is a boy, he is doing this activity in a day. Morning, afternoon, evening, night. So, the day is divided into morning, midday, afternoon, evening and night. But children, for this we need some time. You know, for this to happen, for any activities to happen, we need some time. And our clock tells us that specific time for that particular activities to be done in a day. Yes? Yes. So, a day has 24 hours. In a day we have 24 hours. So, we We use a clock or watch to tell a time. So clock is our best friend. We should utilize our time properly. If we walk with clock, we walk with time, time will walk with us. If you say bye to time, time will say bye to you. Okay? So you should walk with time. So time is a best friend of yours. You should walk with your time. Next. So now we are going to introduce about the clock. So clock is the parent of time. Clock tells you time. Okay. We use a clock to see the time. Okay. The long hand. This is the long hand. This long hand is called minute hand. And this short hand is called hour hand. So long hand is the minute hand and the short hand is the hour hand. I will show you from this. This is the hour hand, this is the minute hand, and this is small thin hand. Can anyone of you tell me what is it? It's the second hand. It's called a coup. It's okay. Second hand. Because you don't want to be there. I am not there in that clock. That's why he called down. Okay. So this is the hour hand and this is the minute hand. So children, this is the face of the clock. In that clock, the face of the clock, we have some numbers. The numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. These are marked on the face of the clock. So can you see this? Numbers are there on the face of the clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. But I introduced you this clock for hour hands and minute hands. But you must be thinking, teacher, what is the hour hands? What is the minute hands? So let's learn. The hour hands takes 1 hour to move from one number to the next number. For example, if this 1 is there, this hour hand is there on 1 and minute hand is there on 12, okay, it will take 1 hour. When minute hand will go, that time it will come here. And it will take 1 hour to move from one number to the next number, and it will complete one round of the clock in 12 hours. Let's talk about minute hand. The minute hand moves faster. The minute hand moves faster, it completes one round of the clock in 1 hour. Minute hand moves faster, hour hand moves slowly, but he is walking with him. But he is helping him out. Okay, so next. When the minute hand is on 12, the hour hand tells us the time of the day. Let's look. Next, look at this clock. Look at this clock. In this clock, you will see hour hand is on 3 and minute hand is on 12. Hour hand is on 3, minute hand is on 12. Look at this clock. The minute hand is at 12. The hour hand is at 3. So the time is 3 o'clock. So this is in digital form. This is in, okay, 3 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Next. Okay, now this is a very interesting part for all of you. So you all must be getting bored of teacher saying theory part here. Let's sing one song. Okay? Yes. So are you ready for my song to this? Yes. You want to hear that song?
Yes, ma'am.
So 1, 2, 3. Where is my long hand? Minute hand. See, can you see this hand?
Yes.
This minute hand? Okay. I'm short with this. I cannot manage. I am not like a Satish. Okay. So I will manage it. So this is the hour hand, this is the minute hand. So I will start my song. I hope you all will enjoy. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, start. What time is it? What time is it? It is 8 o'clock. It is 8 o'clock. What time is it? What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. What time is it? What time it is? It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. What time is it? What time is it? It is 11 o'clock. It is 11 o'clock. What time is it? What time is it? It's 12 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock. What time is it? What time is it? It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. What time it is? What time it is? It's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. What time it is? What time it is? It's 3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock. It's what time it is? What time it is? It's 4 o'clock. It's time to play guitar. It's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. What time it is? What time it is? It is 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock. What time it is? What time it is? It is 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. What time it is? What time it is? It's 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock. What time it is? What time it is? It's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. What time it is? What time it is? It's 9 o'clock. It's time to sleep. It's time to sleep. It's time to sleep. What time it is? What time it is? Okay? So did you like this song? Yes. Wow. Very nice. So I hope you all have understood. But the thing is that I want me to do. I'm going to show you one activity. Okay. In this, what I'm going to do, I will ask one of you from each group. I will give you one clock to that person, a student. They are going to show me. I'm going to tell you the timing, and you are going to show me that time. Okay? So I'm going to just raise your hand, those who want to do this activity. Okay? Yes. Ma'am, please. Yes, Reshma. Miss Reshma, come here. Okay. Now I will tell you the time of 5 o'clock. Yes. Very good. Well done, Reshma. Then, who wants to play? Yes? Bhavita? Miss Bhavita. Now, what is the time? It's 3 o'clock. Is it? Yes. Yes, well done, Bhavita. Yes, Pratibha. R&D is on 9, minute hand is on 12. Very good, Pratibha. Okay. Who want to do this activity? Raise a hand. Who want? Okay. So, now let's evaluate. Now let's see how much you all have understood. Okay. Now just raise your hand. Don't be in a hurry. Okay, this is the clock. Now you have to see this clock and you have to find out which one is the correct one. It's 2, it's 3 or it's 1. Who tell me the answer? Yes, Miss Peelu?
It's 1 o'clock.
Yes, well done. Well done. So, next. Next. This is the clock it is showing you the time, but you have to find out which is the correct one. 4, 6 and 5. Yes, Nayan?
Ma'am, it's 4 o'clock.
Yes, well done. Who wants to give answer of this question? Same students raising your hands. Yes, many students are there. Yes, Sital? Let's see whether it is correct or wrong. Yes, the correct answer. Now who wants to give the next question? Answer of the next question. Aditya?
Ma'am, 9.
Let's see whether it is correct or wrong. Yes, the correct answer. Well done, Aditya. Well done. Now next. Now we will give you the answer of this question. Yes, Charmi?
Ma'am, it's 2 o'clock. No, sorry, 1 o'clock.
Oops. Yes, it's
1
1
o'clock.
o'clock.
Sorry.
Let me see. It's 1 o'clock. Let's see. Sir.
Confirm answer.
Yes, 1 o'clock.
Yay! Charmi, well done. Excellent job. You're back on your back. Yay. Okay. Now who is going to tell the answer of this question? Same students are raising their hands again and again. I don't want the same students. Same students are raising both the hands. Yes. Sonia, please tell me the answer of this.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Yes. Yes. Well done, Sonia. Keep it up. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you all? Very good, Sonam ma'am. I just wanted to check how much you people are attentive in the lecture. Very good. Clap for everyone. Sonam ma'am, everyone. Good afternoon, it is. Yes. I hope you all are doing well. We'll start with our today's lecture. But just before going towards the topic, we'll just play some game because I feel that after the lunch you people are very dull. Okay, so let's play a game and get refreshed. You people must have heard about Daksharas. Yes? We'll play that. Okay, just a small difference is there. In Daksharas, usually we use movies, but today, because it is English lecture, we'll use some words or some phrases. Okay, there are some situations or words which I have written in the chip. Whatever is there, you have to enact that. You cannot use the board. You just have to tell it to your team members through the actions. So we are going to do that. So I will give you only 1 second to decide in between you all who is going to act over it. Just make sure it should be a good actor. Okay? Only 1 second to decide. Come on.
Satish sir.
And no talk.
Satish sir, good actor.
Soft talk. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. So by choice one has to.
She is acting now. Satish sir is acting now. He's saying his time laga. See how good he act.
Done? Done? There is one thumb rule which we are going to follow throughout the lecture. No chorus answers. The one who has to answer will raise their hand. Even in between games and activities that we will have during the lecture. Okay? Ready? Who wants to come first? Just raise hands. Nobody? We'll start from you. You can help them. You can be a part of them. Only 2 seconds, to act.
See all of you.
Shopping.
Yes.
Very good.
Price tag देख रहे थे.
Next. We go to this team.
not a good actor, man. I'm not a good actor, man.
See, you have got compliment from one of your classmates.
Oh.
Greatest actor of all time.
You are a salesman trying to
Oh!
Now next one.
Very
Cheating,
simple.
cheating.
No, this
Cheating.
team is cancelled.
Oh,
We
no.
get 3 marks. Disqualified.
Give me one
No,
more chance.
disqualified. This team. See, that means you were not paying attention when I was
Yes.
saying that.
Punishment.
Give me one more chance, man.
Okay, I need you
Punishment.
time to decide. This team.
Satish sir.
Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Quick, quick, quick. We don't have a whole day.
Teaching? Monkey?
Decided. Quick.
जगलिंग जोकर जोकर एक नंबर पे
And the last, you don't have any option.
Morning.
रैंप वॉक
Fashion show.
Actor, actress, model.
एक्ट्रेसेस हीरोइन हीरोइन
Great. I have got many of the names for annual day. I'm going to take your drama then. Okay. So now let's relate this game with our English language topic. What do you feel, children? With this game, which topic will be connected? There were some words, there were some phrases which were enacted by your teammates here. Okay, and you guessed it. So which is that one part of speech that is being connected with it? Yes, Anita?
Drama.
Drama. No. Part of speech.
Part of speech.
Exactly. It's verbs, right? So today we are going to study verbs, which you already know. Verbs are called as action words. Okay, you people acted over here, so let's take it. Verbs are called as action words. This is something which we are studying right from grade 2, right? Now in grade 7, we'll study a little bit deeper in this concept, that is verbs 1. Okay, now what are verbs 1? In verbs 1, we are going to study types of words. There are 2 types of words. Okay, I repeat, there are 2 types of words. One is transitive. The other is intransitive. Okay. Now, before moving to transitive and intransitive, there are some of the concepts that should be clear in your mind to remember these 2 concepts clearly. Okay, so let's go to those concepts. Subject and object. Now, what is a subject and what is the object? Okay, first of all, I'm so sorry, I am late for this. Harsha ma'am gave the right answer, so a chocolate for you. Okay, real chocolate it is.
रियल चॉकलेट
Yes, it is real chocolate. Now, what I did just now to Harsha ma'am, frame it in one sentence. If you know the answer, just raise your hand. Whatever action was being done here, frame it in a sentence. Ma'am is giving chocolate to Harsha ma'am. Okay, very good. I'll write it over here. Ma'am gave a chocolate to Harsha. Okay. Now I have a ball. I am not partial. Who gave the complaint of partiality? Hold this. What did I do? The one who knows the answer is says your. Yes, Ujjwala ma'am.
Teacher throwing the ball.
Teacher threw a ball towards the student. That is what our subject is about. Subject is the one who does the action. Okay, let me make it more simpler for you. Subject is, we can say, is the doer of the action. Okay, now coming back to this example, you people are going to tell me what is our subject over here. The one who does the action is the subject. Subject is the doer of the action. What is the subject in this sentence? Ma'am gave a chocolate to Harsha. Yes, Ms. Manisha? Ma'am. Subject is ma'am. Wow, fantabulous. I did the action of giving the chocolate to Harsha. Subject is the doer of the action. That is why ma'am is our subject. Okay. What is our verb in this sentence? Yes, Mr. Aditya?
Gave.
Gave. Excellent. Gave is our verb. Okay. Now there are some words still remaining. We came to know about subject. Now what is object? Object is the receiver of the action. Now I am doing the action, but there should be somebody to receive it, right? So object is the receiver of the action. I'll just give you a small formula. To identify object, we need to ask question. What and whom. To identify object, we'll ask this two questions to the statement. Whatever answer you get becomes your object. Let me simplify it for you. The sentence was ma'am gave a chocolate to Harsha. Ma'am gave what? Ma'am gave a chocolate. So a chocolate is our object. Ma'am gave chocolate to whom? To Harsha. So Harsha is also our object. Now, the answer which we get to what is your direct object. And the answer you get to whom is your indirect object. Children, please write it down in your textbook. These two words which will make it easy for you to identify object. Okay, what to identify direct object, who to identify indirect object. Clear? Any doubt if you have till here, just raise your hand. Great. I'll just revise what we have done by far. Subject is the doer of the action. The one who is doing the action is the subject. Object is the receiver of the action. There are two types of object, direct object and indirect object. In your mind, you have to ask question with what to the statement. Whatever answer you get becomes your direct object, and whatever answer you get to whom becomes your indirect object. Clear? Now, I told you that to know transitive and intransitive in a better way, we need to know about subject and object, which we know now. Okay, so let's move to what is transitive and what is intransitive. Okay, I'll write some sentences on the board. The hunter shot the boy caught. 3 sentences, right? Children, do you feel these sentences are complete? Just raise your hand if you know the answer. Do you think the man killed, the hunter shot, the boy called are complete sentences?
No.
No, it's not a complete sentence. Okay, so let's just add some words to it. The man killed a mosquito. Maybe the mosquito had pricked the man, so he must have killed it. The hunter shot a tiger. Killing animals are good or bad? Bad. We should not do it, but still we have it in our sentence. Sad, but fine. The boy called his mother. It's always good to call our mother when we are in trouble, right? She is going to help us come out of it. So let's bring it in our sentence. The man killed a mosquito. The hunter shot a tiger. The boy called his mother. Okay. Now, Miss Jayashree, can you tell me who is the subject in our first sentence?
The man.
The man. Excellent. Miss Archana, can you tell me what is the verb in our first sentence?
Killed.
Killed. Miss Rupali, can you tell me what is our object here? A mosquito. The man killed what? The man killed a mosquito. Mosquito becomes our direct object or indirect object? Direct object. Excellent. It becomes our direct object. Children, no chorus answers. Second, the hunter shot a tiger. Yes, Miss Babita, can you tell me what is our subject?
The hunter.
The hunter. Miss Sangeeta, what is our verb? Shot. Excellent. Miss Sonam, object?
Tiger.
The hunter shot a tiger. What is it? Direct or indirect object?
Direct.
The hunter shot whom?
A tiger, no?
Some direct object. Next, the boy called his mother. Yes, Miss Harsha, subject?
The boy.
The boy. Verb, Sanvi ma'am? Called. Miss Manisha, object?
Indirect object is mother.
His mother. His mother becomes our indirect object. So all of these examples, children, are our transitive verbs. The verbs which are there here in all of the 3 sentences are transitive verbs. Transitive verbs will require subject, verb and object to have a meaning. Okay? Transitive verbs will require subject plus verb plus object. Okay? Now today we'll stop for here. The intransitive verbs we'll do it in the next class. Okay, now what you have to do is, I'll give you only 1 second to think of a sentence. Everybody will think of a sentence wherein you have subject, object and verb. Only 1 second. Think it in your mind. 1 sentence with subject, object, verb. Done? Catch. You have to pass this ball. I'll clap my hands. You have to pass this ball. Just play passing the parcel. Okay. The moment I stop, where the ball is has to answer the question to your teammate. Okay. Your teammate will ask a sentence, and the person who has the ball will answer the question. Okay. I'll clap. Logan. Who is going to ask the question? Who is ready with the sentence? Subject, object, verb. Yes, go ahead.
I killed a fly. I killed a fly. Fly. I is a subject, killed verb, and fly.
Which object subject, direct or indirect?
Indirect.
Great. Very good. Okay, thank you class. I'll stop for your intransitive verbs. We'll do it in the next class. Thank you. Good afternoon, student. Good afternoon. How are you all? Fine. This is the last period, but we will work with in this period. Let's see how. Okay. Student, one puzzle is kept on your table. Seeds and solve it. We will given 1 minute. Solve it, and those team will finish first. Raise your hand. Yeah. Yes, Miss Sonia. What is this?
Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal. Okay.
Even I have.
Yes, Miss
Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal. Yes.
Ma'am, used it.
Yes. Yes, Taj Mahal. Yes. Red fort. Okay. It's a red fort. Okay. Yes, Miss ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss.
Yes,
Ma'am. Which image is that?
ma'am, it's red.
Red fort. Miss Shraddha, which monument is it?
Mine is Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal. Do you know which Mughal emperor built this? Taj Mahal?
Shah Jahan.
Shah Jahan. Okay, correct. Shah Jahan built this monument. And who was the father of Shah Jahan? Anyone knows? I know everyone knows about the Taj Mahal because it is a very, it comes under the 7 wonder. Yes? So, as you know very well, Shah Jahan has made this. Who is the father of Shah Jahan? Anyone knows? Yes, ma'am?
Jahangir.
Jahangir. So today, in this chapter, today we will going to learn new chapter, Jahangir and Shah Jahan. Okay. So as your friend have solved the puzzle, that is the red fort, this was made by the Shah Jahan during his reign, and second puzzle was the Taj Mahal. This is also built by the Shah Jahan. That's why he is called the master builder. In the Mughal emperor is the emperor who is usually called the master builder. This man. This is the map of Mughal Empire when it was at its peak. Means fully they were in their power with big territory. And this is the timeline of the Mughal dynasty. And already in previous few chapters we have learned about the Babur, who was the founder of the Mughal Empire. He came in, kept the found of Mughal Empire in the 1526 Common Era. Then Humayun, his son, succeeded Babur in 1530. He is called the luckless leader, luckless king also, and even the king without kingdom, because in middle of his reign, because of Sher Shah Suri, he has to exile from the India and he has took shelter under one Persian king. Then the Akbar, the son of Humayun, he succeeded Humayun, and he was the ruler. He is called the Great Akbar also, who ruled a long period of time in the Mughal dynasty. As you can see, the time when these 6 powerful Mughal emperors, they were from the 1526 Common Era to 1707 Common Era. Then after Jahangir, his son Shah Jahan, now Jahangir succeeded Akbar, about whom we are going to learn today. Jahangir. Then Shah Jahan, the Jahangir's son, succeeded Jahangir. Then Shah Jahan's son Aurangzeb succeeded Shah Jahan. So about these two we will learn in the next chapter. First, we will learn today about the Jahangir, the father of Shah Jahan. So, this is the chapter 11, Jahangir and Shah Jahan, but it is not possible to complete all. So, we will complete only the Jahangir's part. This map is the Mughal empire from the 1526 till the 1707 Common Era. This is the why we have included this period only. This is the period where the Mughal was there in a more powerful position,
started declining. Okay. Here, the dark blue color area, can you see, is the area with the, during the Babur time, the first founder of the Mughal dynasty. The light blue color area, territory, was held in the Mughal Empire by Humayun, the son of Babur, and Akbar, the son of Humayun. Okay, this light blue color area added in the Mughal Empire. Then this pink color area, the territory, is added by Jahangir, the son of Akbar, and the Shahjahan, the son of Jahangir, and the Aurangzeb, the son of Shahjahan. This pink color area. So such a big empire they were had. To remember, one tip I would like to share with you all students, the tip to remember the name of Mughal emperor. Now, there are so many emperors. Already we have learnt about the three. Now we are going to learn about the fourth emperor. Yes, the one word is there, Ba-Shah-Eagle. So, Ba-Shah-Eagle. The first B for Babur, H for Humayun, A for Akbar, J for Jahangir, S for Shahjahan, A for Aurangzeb. Okay, so keep in mind Ba-Shah-Eagle. Okay, so let's recall one by one. I will call and you have to tell me. Okay. Yes, Miss Nayan.
Yes,
B for Babur. Very good. Yes, B for Babur. Miss Sonia. H for
Humayun.
Very good. Give a silent clap to them. Miss Dipti. A for
Akbar.
Akbar.
Very good. Give a silent clap to her. J for Miss Acharya. Jahangir. Give a silent clap to her. Then S for
Shahjahan.
Shahjahan. And A for Miss Archana.
Aurangzeb.
Aurangzeb. Very excellent memory you have prepared. Give a silent clap for everyone. Very good, very good. So you will keep in your mind, everything there in your mind, which is the word to remember these emperor. Ba-Shah-Eagle. Keep in your mind. Ba-Shah-Eagle. Okay. Good. As I told, just now we have done revision. Why I have made you to learn those? Because while explaining these words will come, then you will get confused. Who is the father and who is the son? That's why I made you to keep these things in your mind. So Jahangir. Jahangir is the fourth emperor in the Mughal dynasty. He is the son of the Akbar the Great. Okay, and Jahangir also known as the Prince Salim. Prince Salim. What is the he also in a? I heard one movie that Prince Salim, Manarkali, some one movie, old movie is there. That is not actual depict of this story, but little bit information they have given. Anyone? Anyone that
Mughal.
Okay, little bit information, but not an exact. Okay, as you know, they want to put entertainment in that. Because simple story, they will put people will not going to watch it. Okay. He was a very intelligent Salim. But Jahangir was very intelligent, but he is impatient to rule. Impatient to rule. He rebelled against his father Akbar. Rebelled. I want throne now. And that time his father Akbar was on the campaign in the Deccan. Now, as you know, he was continuously, Akbar was busy to expand his territory, to expand the Mughal empire. So he heard about this, he came back and again he restored himself on the throne. Who? Akbar. Okay. Then everything got reconciled, means settled down. Then in 1605 Common Era, Jahangir became the emperor after Akbar's death. Ultimate what he wanted, he got it. Then next incident happened in his life that Prince Khusrau, the eldest son of Jahangir, the Prince Khusrau, the eldest son of the Jahangir, he rebelled against Jahangir. Jahangir rebelled against his father Akbar. Now his son rebelled against him for the throne. Okay, for the throne. But what Jahangir done? He quickly blinded him and put it into prison. Have you learned something in this incident? Jahangir when he is inducing his name. What we have learned through that? This incident of his coup. Yes, Miss Sally would like to answer.
We have a proverb in English, tit for tat, or as you sow, so you reap.
Yes,
Whatever
yes.
he did to his father, he got it in return from his own
Yes,
son.
yes, very good. So through history we learn, incidents we learn that and this scenario we have learned that what you will do with other, same will come back to you. So always student, we should be good to others. We should do good to others. Okay, be good to others. Okay, people also will learn through that, and same will happen to the next generation. Yes, chain of justice. As the Jahangir is also called the patron of stability. He is a very inclined for the justice for his subject. Okay, justice for his subject. That's why he has made chain of justice. Anyone in the chain of justice, 60 golden bells were there outside of his palace. Anyone could pull the chain to request personal hearing with Jahangir. Anytime they can pull and they can ask, I want justice for these things. It's a very good point. There. Jahangir Nama. Jahangir Nama is an autobiography in that he has written about the animals and plants during that time in India. Very good book is that. And what is the incidents were there, a little bit also information is given about that. Then conquest of Jahangir. As you know, his father was busy in the expanding his empire. Same, he is also done. Jahangir also started same campaign. Then sent Prince Khurram, whose name later on he is known as the Shah Jahan. As he has built what? Just now your friend told Miss Sonia what? Shah Jahan built Taj Mahal. Then what Miss Nayan? Red Fort, Moti Mahal, Jama Masjid. So many. That's why he is called the master builder of the Mughal Empire. To capture the fort, so he has sent his Khurram to capture the fort of Ahmednagar, and he has successfully captured it. And then Jahangir sent his army to capture the Kangra fort. It is in Himachal Pradesh. Where? Himachal Pradesh. Where is the Himachal Pradesh, Miss Archana? It is in north of India or south?
Northern.
No, chorus, Miss Sonia? No.
Ma'am, it is in North India.
No, give chance to your friend, beta. Chalo. Now, Mewar. Then Jahangir ended the century-long struggle against between the Mewar, because the Mewar was Rajput were not ready to surrender in front of the Mughal emperor, but he did it. He forced Rana Amar Singh to submit to the Mughal emperor in battle. That is the big victory for him. Yes, I would like to show you all these things in the map, because if you understand everything through map, it will be concrete in your mind and you will do correlate it. Kangra is, can you see, it is here in the Madhya Pradesh. Up cursor is there. Kangra, go cursor, Kangra, Himachal Pradesh. Then can you see Mewar in Rajasthan? Then Ahmednagar in Maharashtra. Okay, these are the area, keep in mind. Okay, this can be asked and it is easy for you to locate also. Yes, ma'am. See, this is the Shalimar Bagh, which is in Kashmir, built by Shah Jahan, in that Noor Jahan, his wife, had been designing the Shalimar Bagh. This is the miniature painting. Is a very inclined to this. Now let's have a quiz. Okay, those students know they have to raise hand quickly. Okay. Who was the first Mughal emperor? Yes, Miss Sultan.
Baba.
Let's see your answer. Yes, Baba. Very good. Give us a hand. Yes, next question. Next question, ma'am. Next question, ma'am. Next. Okay. Next question. So, student, next. Okay. Student one, this is their book is map is there. Kindly mark the conquest of the Jahangir in your map. What are the three conquests? That first Mewar, then Ahmednagar, and what? Kangra. Please mark it in that map, which is on your table. Kangra. It is there. Okay, Lisa. Quick done. Very good. Anyone has done? Oh, Sonia is very. That's very good, very good. Okay. That's Kangra, Mewar, Ahmednagar.
Mewar in Rajasthan, I guess.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, very good.
Kangra
On
in
track.
Himachal Pradesh.
Oh. Okay. So today's assignment is assignment. Select the picture of Mughal architecture. That comes different types of things, not only the monuments. Different things are there. They are designing everything, architecture, magnificent, and fast in your notebook. Everything you have to record and write the achievement of Emperor Jahangir. Okay, student, this you have to write in your notebook.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello everyone, learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. Our school has given a good platform to teachers for their professional development through a peer observation. Peer observation is about teachers observing each other's practice and learning from one another. It aims to support the sharing of best practice and build awareness about impact of your own teaching. Peer observation is a two-way process that can benefit both the observer and the teacher being observed with the goal of improving learning and teaching. It demonstrates a school's commitment to the professional development. It can contribute to the development of the whole school by creating professional learning community dedicated to improvement by opening up classrooms and sharing strength with each other. Good practice is seen and celebrated. Importantly, areas for the development are highlighted and colleagues then work together, plan next steps. Thank you.